Welcome back to another video. Let's see how we can design a desk within SolidWorks and have it rendered in Blender. So this will be the case study reference. So I already created of this. I'm going to use this top view in order to have the model designed. Now, if I will jump within SolidWorks, I will create a new part. Within this new part, I will go to the top plane and I will add a sketch picture. In this case, I have that prepared over here, so we see it, reference. I have the image added, and now I will not scale this. Since we have this length 850, we could do that, but I will do a different approach. So in this case, I will click OK for the sketch picture, and I will draw an axis. So somewhere over here onto the middle of that. And now I will use a spline in order to have this traced. So I don't want to add a lot of inflection points for this spline, but I will add some. And at the end I will press escape. Now, with this created, we can use the smart dimension and we can add the length. So we see over here the total length. That means that the length will be half of that over here. So just type in your dimensions, divide it by 2. And the sketch will be, the image in the back will be automatically rescaled. Now we can have this mirrored. So even though this is no longer in position, we know that this is the correct shape, so that will not do any problems. So I can just mirror this, and afterwards, if I will go to surface, extrude surface, we see the total length 850. So I can type in that. I can click OK, and we're going to have the following surface over here. Now, this surface will have a middle line since we don't have tangency over there, but we're going to see how we can also fix that later. If, for example, I will try to add thicken to this, for example, I want to add 10 millimeters on the inside. If I will click OK, we're going to have that added. And now I will also define a new plane. So I can use this top and that top edge, and I also need one vertex at the top. And I can create a new sketch over here. I could have also select this plane, and that will give me the same plane over here. Now I can select this, and I will have this outlined on a distance, for example, 40 millimeters. If I want this to make it larger, I can also add 50. And over here, I will connect those two with an arc. And I will add the relation, the tangency over here. And we're going to see that this will be the following curve. I can also add the tangency onto the other side. And if I will go to feature and have this extruded onto the top direction, I will add 50 millimeters. So I can click OK, and we have that desk modeled over here. Therefore, to take this to Blender, I will go to File, Save As, and over here we have the possibility to use STL that will take it within Blender with no problem. We can also use Extended Reality File, so GLB or GLTF. In this case, I will go with the STL file, since this will be, let's say, within the most solutions, within CAD solutions. So you can save this from CATIA and Fusion, for example, because these extended reality models, these are only available within the newer version of SolidWorks. So if you have an older version, you will not have access to those. This is why I decided to go for this, so I will call this desk. We can also go with a finer model if you want to, but this should be fine. And within Blender, I will select everything, have those deleted. and I will go to File, Import, STL. So I will go again onto the desktop, desk. So I will have this imported. I will zoom out and I will see that the desk is large. So I will press S to scale it and type in 0.01. Afterwards, press on the comma on the numpad, that will zoom in towards the object. I can right click and have this shaded smooth. And now I will have this rotated onto the x-axis to have it standing, so like this. And we can start adding those textures. So the goal over here is to recreate the desk. So over here we have an illustration for this. Therefore, I will press Tab with this selected. I will select a vertex at the top, and I will press Ctrl and plus in order to expand the selection. And we're going to see that this will give us the following selection. Now, if I will hold down Ctrl, I can deselect the bottom elements. I can also enable this toggle X-ray and hold down Ctrl, and that will deselect everything in this case. We see that the top nodes will also be selected, but that shouldn't be any problem. So I can press P and I can have those separated. And if I will press again Tab, I will gonna see that I can select the top section and have it moved around. So I can add a texture for this. Maybe I will make it like this black. It's already shaded smooth. And now I want to map a banner over here. So I have that over here prepared. So this is that banner with Wizz Air. And we want to wrap this onto the front of the desk. So onto that section. Therefore, within Blender, we should initially separate that. So I press Tab to go to edit mode. I will disable the X-ray by clicking over here. And now I will hold down Shift and I will do the following selection. I can also select faces. And we have those faces selected. I will rotate around the model. And with Shift, I will add to the selection because I want everything over here to be selected onto the exterior. But I don't want the inner surfaces to be selected. So those over there as well. And I will also take this edge over here. So the face position right onto the edge. We have it over here as well. And keep in mind that since this is an STL, we're going to have a triangulated model. So this face will have one triangle with an edge over here and a vertex all the way at the top. And that should be into the other direction as well. So this will be the selection. With this selected, I will press P and I will separate the selection. And now if I press Tab, I will see that I can select only that outer part. So I will create a new material. I will go within shading. And over here, I want to add that image. So I can go to texture, image texture, and I can browse from the desktop. It's called Viz. Or I can drag and drop it over here from the desktop. And I will connect that to the base color. And we're going to see that the model will look like this. If I will go to UV shading, and I will press A to select everything from this unwrap desk, I can press U and I will unwrap this. So in this case, I will use the following unwrap using Smart TV Project. I will click on OK. And we're going to see that the unwrap will look like this. That means that if I will select over here, we're going to see how the model will look. So I can rotate this around. in this case, if I rotate it minus 90 and I will have this scaled, we're gonna see how that will be wrapped over here. So it's not looking that good. So I will select this, press S to scale it. Afterwards, Y for the axis, and I will go upwards. And we see that we need to rotate this. So I press R for rotation, X for the axis, and I will have this rotated 90 degrees. And afterwards, I will scale it down. I can press G in order to grab it, and I will press S to scale it on the X. And over here, I'm trying to integrate this over there. So we're going to see the output will look like this. If I will deselect this and I will go back, we're going to see that the wrapping is not that well defined. So we have those logos over there, and we have the plane. So go back to UV editing, select everything, and we're going to have to do some changes over here. If I will scale this all the way onto the x-axis, we're going to see that it will move like that. So have it also rotated minus 90 degrees. So minus 180. And we're going to see that the wrapping will look like this. So we still have those overlapping elements. Therefore, I will select this and I will have this unwrapped. And I will select those again. And within the unwrap, we did the Smart TV project in this case. But I will go now with angle based. So with angle based, we're going to have the following UV map, which I can select. I can scale again. Okay, so press escape. And if you're going to take a look now, the unwrapping will be a lot better. All that we have to do is to rotate this. So I will have this rotated minus 180 degrees because I want the plane to be positioned like this. And we're going to see that if I will deselect this and I will go back to the layout, the plane will start over here and we're going to have this wrapped over here where we're going to have this fry the greenest positioned. So this is a better wrapping than previously. If you want to, you can further adjust this by either scaling this. So if I will scale this a little bit like this, we're going to see that wrapping will be changed now. If you want this fly greener to be a lot more visible, we can also do that. I can scale this more on to the X and I can move it over here. And we're going to have that right over there on the corner. Or we have the possibility only to select some of those spaces and have those stretched. But in this case, I think that it will be a lot better to just have this scaled onto the X-axis. And we can also further increase this because as soon as those will be positioned outside, the software will add that texture on repeat. So we also want to have that over here, which is something that maybe we don't want to. So we can move it like that. And now we're going to have the fly the greenest position over here. We're going to have the plane there. And if I will go back to the layout, the wrapping will look like this. So over here we have that seam where that is added. So you can also change directly the image. But we're going to see that over here the wrapping will be okay. Or we can have that fly the greenest position a little bit to the back. So in order to finish this, I also want to add a character. So we have over here Blender Kit, which is currently waiting for the client. So I will just add a model if Blender Kit will not work in this case. So I will go and I will add an FBX over here. We have the following model. So have that imported. we're gonna see that this will be at scale, so what we modeled within SolidWorks is at scale. And I can also have this rotated onto the y-axis, onto the z-axis, sorry. Move it a little bit to the back on the y. And this is currently missing the texture, but we can easily fix that by going within the shading. And over here, I can just recreate this material. So I can have that deleted, create a new material, and I can drag and drop that that image over there. So we should have it over here. This is the diffuse map, and I can just link it to the base color, and those should be linked together. And this is the render. So in this case, if I position a camera like this, we will not see that seam that has been added over there. Only if you're going to rotate it over here, then we can go and further adjust those UV unwrapping in order to have this perfectly aligned. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this kind of content. I will position a similar video onto the left side, and I will also add a subscribe button to the right. So that's it. Thanks for watching.